All right, guys. Yesterday we talked about Pikamee's apparent return as Henya the Genius, and some very interesting reactions from certain people over on Twitter.com. And since then, things have only been getting crazier. For example, there's dozens, if not hundreds, of odd people on Twitter quote retweeting the VShojo announcement about Henya slash Pikamee and accusing Pikamee and her fans of being pedos, something they tried to do months back. And I guess now that she's returned, they're trying to do that again. You know, Twitter basically being Twitter. I'm not going to show those tweets because I think those people just want attention, and I'm not going to give it to them in this video. Anyways, that's just the intro. Let's get to some tweets with actual substance to talk about. And some of this might be like slightly low-hanging fruit, but these takes are so dang funny. I want to laugh. I want to talk about this and hopefully bring you a laugh too. So if you enjoy this segment, please consider liking and or subscribing. It really does help me out. I appreciate it. And now let's get started.
The contempt I feel for corporate VTubing has never been higher. Both Shoho and Pikamee said nothing to avert rampant transphobic conspiracy lunatics for months. For what? Greed, cowardice and apathy. The conspiracies are still rampant even now. You look at any of the trending subjects around this stuff and it's full of the most delusional, mouth-frothing hatred. People losing their sanity over corporate pixels and the faintest whiff of a reason to be transphobic.
Well, you guys know I'm pretty anti-corpo myself. But that take is really funny. Like, dude, what the heck? Corporate pixels? Oh, yeah, Pikamee is such a corporate VTuber. What? Okay. I guess if I'm trying to be as nice as I possibly can to the person who made that take, I can say, like, I guess technically her joining VShojo makes her more corporate than if she just was, like, indie entirely. But still, like, that rant is so funny sounding, dude. And, like, corporate pixels for Pikamee, like... Okay, I'll stop laughing. Let's talk about the other part of that now. Okay, I don't know if I can stop laughing actually, but I'll try to mellow it down a little bit, because I want to talk about something slightly serious now. Going back, I mean, related to all this stuff and that take, but going back a little bit too. Here's what I mean. Why does this situation even involve trans people at all? I was thinking about this last night. I'm like, well, hold up. Why does Pikamee and Pikamee's return have like trans activists on Twitter making extreme takes? I like seriously had to remind myself. I'm like, oh, that's right. Is it because she literally just wanted to play Hogwarts Legacy one time and made a tweet? Like, that's actually it, right? Because this situation really shouldn't have had anything to do with trans people. It should have just been like, you know, Pikamee doing her thing. Maybe she stays with VOMS, maybe she doesn't, and it doesn't involve trans people at all. But because there had to be some like really weird, really like pro-harassment people on Twitter who targeted Pikamee for playing this game, a situation that really didn't need to involve trans people ended up involving them. Like, all they had to do was not target Pikamee. Like, let Kettle stream game for a week or two before she moves on to the next game. But no, instead, this has now become like a 3-month character arc thing. Like, it's so ridiculous, dude. It's so unnecessary. Now I'd like to show you a response to the take that we just went over. This response is pretty amusing.
I mean, it's likely VOMS has a gag order. VShojo is pretty open, lenient with their contracts from what we've seen, so I doubt it's on them as much as it was on VOMS, since they hold rights to Pikamee and her likeness, like Coco and Hololive. Keep the energy, just adjust target sites.
Keep the energy. Just adjust target sites. What? I gotta say it a third time. What? So they're giving up targeting Pikamee and VShojo, or Henya and VShojo now, and they want to go after VOMS? They want to go after Gyari, the man himself, the father of Pikamee? What even? And that terminology is so freaking bizarre. It's so extreme, like drama queen status. Keep that energy up, just adjust the target sites. Like they think they're in a war or something. Dude, these people really need to get off Twitter. Holy smokes. And let's not even talk about that person for a second who wanted to adjust targets to VOMS. Let's talk about the people who have been targeting Pikamee slash Henya and have been for months. That's such an embarrassingly pathetic look. They had thousands of people ganging up on this one girl, many of which the people harassing her were men. And the girl that they targeted, Pikamee, already has insecurity issues due to the bullying she received in school, amongst other issues she probably has never brought up. And they target her and try to cancel her, try to ruin her life, and fail. Thousands of people going after this one girl who's got insecurity issues, and they failed. At some point, you think they would just move on with their lives.
Yet Fruit openly welcomed Henya, Pikamee, despite the fact she had played the wizard game. Seems like she had no choice but still doesn't feel great. Fruit saying one thing to then not stick by that just for the sake of a company makes it feel like empty words.
You know that saying about how some Twitter activists will always find something to get mad about no matter what? Yeah, it seems like it would apply here. Fruit has publicly voiced support for trans people multiple times, and to my understanding, she also has a family member that's trans, but none of that's good enough. Some people still got to get mad at her too, because she didn't burn the company down after Henya was announced or something, I guess. Reminds me of the people mad at Silvervale for allegedly being transphobic when Silvervale herself literally said on stream, LGBT people are awesome, Twitter freaks are not awesome. So she was clearly talking about freaks on Twitter who try and harass and dox others for simply playing Hogwarts Legacy. Completely reasonable thing to say, and I'd argue calling them freaks is a very mild thing. She could call them a lot worse. And then you had some trans activists on Twitter taking that as like a personal jab at them, saying it's transphobic, when it certainly is not. Here's a funny way of looking at it. Imagine one person is on a sidewalk walking in one direction, and on the other side of the street is someone on the other sidewalk walking the other direction. Then enters a bad driver, speeding, going all crazy, swerving into lanes, almost hits the one dude in the sidewalk. And that dude yells to the bad driver and says, "You almost hit me, you freak." And the other person walking on the other side of the road then crosses the street, runs up to the poor dude who almost got hit, and says, "Why are you calling me a freak? What are you, a transphobe?" It's like, dude, what? This situation had nothing to do with you. That guy was talking to the bad driver who almost ran him over. Why are you suddenly here getting all mad about this? It had nothing to do with you. What are you saying about yourself that you're taking personal offense to this?
There's an unspoken rule in the VTuber world that you don't talk about people's previous identities, regardless of how well known they are. I think that's fair in a lot of ways, and I try not to disrespect that rule. I didn't talk about Xen in that video I made, for good reason. This time around I do not think I want to respect that rule. This time I want to say, I best be seeing a whole wave of apologies from anyone who ticked and screamed and cried about trans bullies harassing Pikamee. This time it goes a little beyond one person's privacy. But something tells me the engines of reactionary scumbag YouTubers and fashweeb Twitter accounts aren't gonna be whirring up to correct the record. They're gonna respect the unspoken rules on this one, for no one's benefit but their own.
So there's a lot of comedy gold with that tweet. We're going to break that down and have fun with that one. But first, if you don't know, the person who made that tweet is infamous for making this tweet back in October where he said, "I've played more Persona games than you. I've played more Megaten games than you. I have a degree in English and a focus in fiction writing. My media literacy and my knowledge of the series are better than yours. Watch my video I made 2 years ago, TY." Like, oh my gosh, it's so bougie sounding, dude. So obnoxious. As for this guy's take about Pikamee, I just love how he unironically comes off sounding like a literal supervillain. He's like, "I better see apologies from people." Dude's like, "I know we're supposed to respect the past identities, but I'm not going to do that this time. This is more important than one person's privacy." Dude thinks he's got a gotcha on Pikamee because she's Henya, and he's not going to hide that. No one's trying to hide that. Even Pikamee herself seems like she's not making any effort towards hiding that at all. It's not a gotcha on her. Like, what a weird take. And then the final part of it too. Dude says that the fans are just like reactionary YouTubers and fascist weebs. It's like, bro, we're just people trying to enjoy VTubers and video games. So it's like, dude, stop being so politically obsessed. You turned your mind into mush. It's very sad to see. It's also very pathetic. Anyways, that's it for this segment. I hope you enjoyed. And like I said at the start, there are a bunch of people on Twitter trying to call her and her fans pedos. Not going to read those, didn't read those. But the ones that I did read in this video, I thought were just pretty dang funny. So I hope you found them funny as well. Hopefully you got some laughs from all that nonsense. And thank you so much for tuning in. If you did get a laugh, I'm very happy. I look forward to seeing you in the comments and tomorrow for the next segment.